All right. Thank you for staying with us. The conversation is about the tension, and the way it's rising in River State. Many persons will say it's not entirely new. That's right, especially if almost a year now. The political uproar between the camp of the current governor and the elsewhere governor, the FCT minister, Yesam Wike, the dimension and the dynamics, that on one side. But then you fast forward to last weekend, that the local government election was held, in River State, and APP, cleared 22 of the chairman's seat, local government chairman seat, and of course AA has the other. The election was held on Saturday. The declaration was done, swearing in of the winners was done on Sunday as well, and just for the winners to take charge, the chairman to take charge of their domain, the secretariat in which they'll be working in. A problem started yesterday. Almost all the dailies this morning, as we have, read out on this program, had picture of one fire incident, explosion, or the other, and the state is politically, in flames. And some of those state headquarters are literally, were looted up, touched, and burnt down. Some vans, were burnt as well. And many persons are struggling to really make a sense of what is happening. Is this really what River State has become, the treasure base of the nation? To make sense and give us an understanding of what is happening, we are being joined this morning by Ibim Semenitari, former Rivers Commissioner for Information and Communications. He joins us virtually this morning. Good morning, madam. Good to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, very well. As I said in my introduction, almost all the papers, the dailies in Nigeria today, the front page is littered with what has happened in River State and what is happening with some of these local government secretariat in flames in Ikore local government, LMA local government, Canal local government. This is supposed to be the treasure base of the nation. The local government election has come and gone. Of course, there are issues on ground. But, madam, is this what has become of your state? How do you react to this?
Well, it's really pathetic that this is the situation. And, if one wants to do a dive down and look back, perhaps one might want to ask a few critical questions.
Yeah.
Local government elections held in more than just River State. Before Saturday, they had held in 10 states of the Federation. As at Saturday, it's held in Benue, held in Akwa Ibom, and held in Rivers. What is so special about Rivers that the police decided that they would not provide security only in Rivers? That is the first thing we must ask. The second question we must ask is, does it really make any sense that there is a Supreme Court ruling that says we should revert to ensuring that local governments are we have duly elected officials, and so on and so forth? Plus, a presidential directive to governors to go and do the same. And then elections are asked to be conducted by a governor, and then people decide to have a song and a dance about it. I think that Nigerians might want to look at all of this and ask ourselves what really is the matter. I don't think that River State is a very peaceful state. It's not a state that is given the crisis and violence. It is unfortunate that political actors want to turn River State into a theater of war. That is not what River State is. That is not who River people are. And it's very upsetting that a very tiny fraction of the population of River people want to embarrass everyone in the state. It's very upsetting.
You started your summation by talking about the police, that while it is so special, and you are right, Akwa Ibom had election held, local government election held in Akwa Ibom State, just a stone throw from Rivers. It held up north in Jigawa as well, and there has been no issues. But then, what is really, throwing the line of your question, is the big deal about the River State as well. You talked about the police and said, why did they decide to stand down? The police gave their reasons. I said, there is a federal high court ruling that said they should stand down and they should not provide cover for that particular election. But some will say, yes, they didn't do that, but as that has come and gone, the election has come and gone. Many persons said, yes, there were maybe a few skirmishes, but election held and it has been relatively peaceful. And so many Nigerians were thinking, let everything continue and return to status quo. But just for this local government chairman, to resume duty yesterday, and these all hell broke loose. And many persons
precisely my point. The election held without any incident, and the police was not present. Now, the police had been at the local government council. I don't understand. I really am understand. I can't hold brief. I don't know why. But the police pulled out before 6 a.m. Before 6 a.m. Even if the police was going to pull out, wouldn't they do that after the chairman have come, they've secured the council, and then they leave? I'm just asking. I don't know how security things work. So I may be a layman in this thing. But I would have thought that if you have held sway in the local government areas for these many months, honestly speaking, just a few more minutes to be able to hand over the council properly to the elected chairman shouldn't have led to any problem. But what do I know? I'm not a security person. I'm just asking questions.
Madam, there was a directive from the IGP officially that he told the policemen there and said, please stay, provide cover. And in fact, he said, work with the chairman there so that everything will be fine. The IGP gave the directive.
Awesome. So if that was a directive, why did the policemen pull out of the council earlier? I don't know. I mean, I can't really, these are questions I can't answer. But the point anyway is that River State has no business being a theater of war. And I think that all well-meaning Nigerians need to begin to, speak to all of the gladiators in this business. Let's not wait and say the fire is not burning in my house, because like we all know, the fire can spread.
All right, Madam, are you in any way inferring that the police is complicit in all of this? I mean, they did not provide security for the election, and just when the election had finished peacefully, they withdrew their men from all of the local government secretariats that they were securing at first, and all hell broke loose. We saw some of the secretariats went up in flames. Is there any inference from your end that the police are not neutral in all of this?
That inference was stated.
Are you still with us?
I said I never inferred nor stated that.
Oh, okay. Let's look at the president's position on this. Over time, the president has been comfortably silent in all of the matters or issues in Rivers State, but the released statement recently on the crisis going on in Rivers State. Do you consider that reaction from Mr. President too late, or you'd say it's better late than never?
Well, first is that I think the president should have said something before now. I think so. He is, after all, the father of the nation. Secondly, one of the protagonists in this business is his appointee. And so he can very easily call his appointee to order. If he can't, if the governor is the head of an independent or whatever, how would I put it? And I really don't think any of them is independent of the president in that sense. But the president can call his appointee to order. He can. And so if I don't know what has happened behind closed doors again. I'm speaking from the sideline, so I don't know. But he can. This is his appointee. But anyway, it's good he issued a statement. It's good he's asked the police to ensure there's no breakdown of law and order. I think that is one thing he should do as commander-in-chief. And hopefully when he's, he might do a bit more than that. Again, matters of state, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Let's talk about the content of that statement released by the president. He, urged all political actors to de-escalate the situation and discourage their supporters from engaging in violence or destructive actions. That statement was released by Banyo Onanuga, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy. The president conveniently avoided mentioning, you just said it now, his appointee. That's the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Minister Yesa Wike.
Yeah, and I think that is serious, don't you?
Please come again.
I think that is serious, don't you? I mean, everyone knows that there are two main graduations. There is the governor of River State and the former governor who is the Minister of FCT. So if we're going to mention protagonists, I would think you would mention both people. But again, the president may have his reasons.
And what do you think those reasons might be?
I have, the last time I checked, I haven't started reading mine.
Fair enough to say that. But, in all of this, I'm sure you were, at the cabinet level, I mean, yourself, the good people of River State in some capacity when you were there. And now that you are out of office and this is happening, does it bother you? Because for an average Rivers...
Of course it bothers me.
Yeah.
Of course it bothers me. That's the only thing I'm talking. I'm very upset. I'm a Rivers woman. The assets being destroyed are assets built with Rivers people's money.
Yeah. Are you still with me, please? All right. Can you still hear me? All right. We'll try and reconnect with our guest, Ibim Semenitari, on this matter because, when last, Evelyn, really, did you hear anything coming from Port Harcourt or River State that has to do with excellence in sport or education or, commerce or economy or investment or meeting about one thing that has to be beneficial? The headline has always been, especially in the past few months. Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right. I was trying to say, because we spoke to a resident of River State who said he has been there since 1997, and he said this is not the River State they hoped for, because it's been quite some months ago that you hear about foreign direct investment, economy, project, education, even sports that River State is known for.
This is what I'm saying. That is very upsetting. I listened to the governor's comments yesterday on Politics Today. And you could hear him, saying that he was saying, regardless of whatever work is going on in River State, all people are hearing is this crisis. And it's very upsetting. It reminds me of the parable of Solomon, or the story in the Bible of Solomon and the two women who were arguing over a baby. Nobody who owns the baby will say divide it into two. Nobody. No Rivers person will say this to continue. None. Just like the woman who owns the baby. The most likely thing a true Rivers man or woman will say, instead of trouble, it's not done. You don't destroy a place just for your own person. I don't know. It's upsetting. I really don't want to get emotional because it's very upsetting.
Yeah, and it's quite understandable as well. Because I remember River State could be mentioned for so many things. For culture, there is Canning Reef, there is especially sport. I keep harping on that. Many, interesting persons, the Rivers sporting teams and everything. And now this is what we are seeing. Now, there was an intervention.
If I may say something, it's not just about River State is the nerve center of the oil economy.
Exactly.
I hope that Mr. President and all of those at the federal level understand that. Because any crisis in River State will snowball in the Niger Delta.
Yeah.
And it is not in the interest of Nigeria. So I think at this point, all of us as Nigerians must put the interest of Nigeria first.
Exactly. And, there was an intervention by Mr. President earlier when all these things started. The gladiators and their men were called to Abuja. They signed a particular resolution. And many persons felt at the time, maybe that was one-sided. But Governor Similala Ifubara said, irrespective of how that resolution was drafted, that he was ready to give it a chance, and everything went the way it went. Few months after that intervention failed, and maybe that's the reason the president has stood down on that matter till yesterday when that statement was released. But in all of this, what we keep hearing is political structure. Nobody should talk my political structure. The governor is saying, let me work. People of River State are saying, we want to have the dividends of democracy. So in all of these, somebody said yesterday on this program and said, it's like this is a pattern. Do you agree that leaders are always having issues with their predecessors? And this is what we are seeing again, but that it has never gotten to this ramification or this level that everything is degenerating. Will you say it is the protagonist at this time, or is just the Rivers people always liking to hang on to power? Because there is a pattern.
People, no. Rivers people are not liking to hang on to power. Governor Peter left at the end of his tenure and did not break anybody's head.
He had his issues.
Did you ever hear that Governor Peter did for any governor? He never did. He never did. The selection of Meha that came the same governor became governor based on the issue of state announced by the Olusegun Obasanjo. Please remember, it was the Olusegun Obasanjo state standard that led to the matters of selection of governor. And when the Supreme Court ruled that the members should be governor, Umeha did not fight. He went to his house. Ohiolei did not one day bring anybody to the street to protest against the governorship. Nor did Governor Peter Ohiolei. Governor Peter Ohiolei minded his business. In 2015, Nyesom Wike became governor. Before that, the 2015 election were brought with a lot of crisis and a lot of fighting, police and army involvement in elections. I don't want to go into that. Right. And eventually, when the court said Wike was governor, Amechi stayed back in Abuja and faced his business. Yes, there was crisis in 2015, but remember how that was. I keep asking people, if one person is a recurring decimal in all of this crisis, people should be asking different questions than we're asking.
I was referring to that there was an issue, and many persons have been saying it is a public knowledge that there were issues when Governor Wike came into the fray of leadership. Maybe some would say there was an interference from Governor Amechi then, but it didn't have this significance. But then...
Please, I would like to know what was the interference from Amechi?
You said?
When Wike was governor, what was the interference?
These are, opinions of people.
And
that's why we are bringing it to you.
Years.
Yeah.
For 8 years without a problem. There was a conflict during the election in 2020.
Right.
So after and the elections were not announced, people marched the streets protesting. Nothing was done. The only during the election, and I don't want to go into who and what, because that is not the purpose of this conversation.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So I think we should ask ourselves why we keep, when a coin keeps turning up, maybe you want to look at why that coin keeps turning up in the past.
So let me ask you now, because we understand you must run very quickly because of under engagement, and we appreciate you for joining us this morning. What do you think, as a critical stakeholder in River State, that is the real basis of all these issues we are having?
I wish I could tell. I really wish I knew. Because to all intents and purposes, all of us assume that the governor, the current governor, and his predecessor had a tummy-tummy relationship. And it seems to me that when this governor came into power, all his commissioners were the same commissioners the former governor had. His chief security officer was the one that the former governor gave him. Every officer he had, his chief of staff, everybody was inherited from the former governor. So we didn't expect they had any fight. So none of us, the only both of them can tell us what is the battle, because I have no clue.
Right.
All right, Madam Ibim, does this actually tell us then that the concept of godfatherism in this context, that an outgoing governor brings in someone to succeed him, will not work in our own country?
I don't even understand why our conversations will be around who brings what. I think that a democracy is that people should determine who they think is best to serve the leader. Now, whoever is the current governor has a right to say, oh, I would like John or I would like Peter. The thing that he would like John or Peter doesn't mean it must be John or Peter. It can be whoever the people decide. But even if it becomes John or Peter, who he has chosen, that's it. That's when his life stops. John or Peter must be allowed to do his job, because he swore an oath to defend the Constitution and to serve the people.
But Minister Nyesom Wike, for some time kept saying agreement is agreement. In fact, it became a slogan then, in the public space. People say agreement is agreement, according to Minister Nyesom Wike.
Okay, so he should tell us what this agreement is. Is agreement something he cannot say?
But we might
want to tell us now.
We might want to also ask. We might also want to ask Governor Sim Fubara why he went into an agreement with Minister Nyesom Wike and not keeping to it.
Sim has not said he went into any agreement. The last time I checked, he didn't go into any agreement. At least he said so. He said, "What have I done?" He has asked people. He said, "River people, ask them what I have done."
Yeah.
Do you consider this conflict, this crisis, as between the federal and Rivers State? I'll give you the context, because we've had federal institutions being against Rivers State. Look at the conflicting judgments. The conflicting judgment from the Rivers State High Court said that the election should go ahead. Police should give cover, should provide security. Then we have a federal High Court giving a conflicting judgment, telling the police to withdraw their services, telling INEC not to give RCEC, the registers, voters register. And, we knew what went down on that day of the election. No security was provided. So do you actually think that this is a fight between the federal and Rivers State?
Honestly, I think it would be unfair to call it that. If some elements of the judiciary choose to do what they shouldn't do, I think that's a matter that goes to NJC. I don't think we should paint everybody with a tar brush. That's not, I prefer not to do that. So if one or two people have given judgments that we consider suspicious, I think that it is in the place of people to report that to the NJC and let the NJC deal with it. That would be my own approach to that. I think that there might be a need to engage Mr. President, that is for Rivers elders and voters. I think they can do that. And I think people have been doing so. But I would not reduce it or elevate whichever one is good to a fight between the federal and state government. I don't think that's what it is.
All right. Governor Bala, the governor of Bauchi State, Governor Mohammed Bala, touted Governor Sim Fubara as a model for democratic studies. It said the fact that he is in PDP and he allowed APP to sweep through almost all the local government chairmanship seats he has proven that he is a Democrat. I'd love us to watch that particular statement from Governor Mohammed Bala of Bauchi State, where he lauded Governor Sim Fubara.
He didn't have the structure of the party in the state for certain reasons, and he had to go out and make sure he allows other parties to participate within the political space, so that there won't be any vacuum. And I think this is very auspicious, that is very, very creative, I'm very, very proud of him. And I said, yes, we have lost as a party, and that is why we are running from this. Again, he has established himself as a governor and the pride of all the governors of Nigeria. At the subnational level, you cannot just ignore a governor. A governor is the chief executive. He can do anything. He can spring surprises because the Nigerian state is.
Madam, I hope you heard what Governor Mohammed Bala said in that particular clip, lauding Governor
Yes,
Sim
I do.
Fubara for allowing his political party to, to be behind while a new party entirely takes over almost all the local government seats in the state. How do you react to this? Do you really think that Governor Sim Fubara is a model for democratic studies as a, touted him to be?
I think that one of the things that the government has done, which should be something that students of democracy should look at, is the fact that he keeps suing for peace.
Mm.
That for me is a big deal. And I hope that peace will truly return to the state. The fact that this governor continues to say, please, let us have peace, is something I consider a good thing. And yes, the model. We think that the local government election held, regardless of the fact that the PDP didn't have a candidate, was a good thing. In fact, it would have pleasant my heart if many more parties won other LCA out of this, they will have it. Because we must get to that point where we can have a president that is XYZ, a governor that is ACC, local government chairman that are CEC, and yes, government will function.
But people have said APP is Governor Sim Fubara's proxy party.
Because his loyalists were the ones who went there.
They said it's because he lost the structure in PDP. That's why he moved his members or his own supporters to the APP to contest that particular election.
I'm a member of the PDP in Rivers State. I haven't been party. And of course, I guess that people would have said, if you want to run on the election and you don't have a platform, you can decide to go take your future. But I really wouldn't know, if the APP is of nothing proxy party. This is a matter only God can respond to.
Are you happy that PDP doesn't have a seat, a local government seat in River State?
I can be happy. If PDP has a seat, but I have a faith. Don't you think so? I don't have a paper. My counselor is not from my party.
Okay.
So that's my issue.
Yeah, madam, before we allow you go, just like I said, the Vanguard newspaper has, the picture of, I think, LMA local government in flames. Same thing as the Punch this morning with a van being burnt in LMA. The same thing in Ikwere local government. And in fact, the one in Ikwere, we learned it was just newly built. Quite an ultra-modern edifice, by the way. And all of these are in flames. And, many Nigerians have been calling to say, you guys should please find a way around it because River State is not a state, to be toyed with. Of course, every other state should maintain peace as well because of the significance, especially to the economy and down the south as well. But in your position, who do you think will rein in these gladiators? Because it seems some of the leaders already pitched their tents with some of these gladiators. Do you see is it traditional institution? Is it religious institution? Which of the elders will rein in these people?
Honestly, I wish I had a response. I really wish I did. I don't. I really don't. We don't know. I don't know who I would say to you. Oh, Mr. A can rein in the gladiator, or Mr. B can rein in the gladiator. I have absolutely no clue.
It appears everyone is just helpless on this matter. But the state cannot just be on autopilot. Crisis today, crisis tomorrow, and that's what we keep hearing. Former Governor Ohiolei has already said, oh, Sim Fubara, you are our leader at this point. Other leaders too have pitched their tent. The president seems not to really be interested. He's just maybe a few days ago, yesterday, calling for peace on this matter. Pa Edwin Clark, another statement has been talking. But where do you see this heading to? Because we cannot continue with this. I'm sure you know. Madam, are you still with me?
I am with you. I said, if a former governor has said, Sim Fubara, you are our leader, there's nothing I can add to this. Who says this? What am I going to add to that?
All right, let's take your parting shot, and your parting shot will be to the two gladiators. If you were to meet Governor Sim Fubara this morning, and you had to offer him an advice on this particular crisis, what would your word be to him? And if you were also supposed to, were to meet Minister Nyesom Wike on this particular matter, what would your advice be to him?
If Minister Wike, I would say to him, Your Excellency, you've done 8 years and you led at your finest hour. I would love to ask you to de-escalate the tension, call in your attack dog, and let things return, let peace return. Especially because this crisis has made everybody forget even the work that was done in Rivers State. And as Minister of SPC, as a Rivers woman, it gives me joy and pride that a Rivers person is sitting in the Federal Capital Territory. So I want to be able to celebrate that. I want to be able to show off and say, look, I have 2 governors in one. I have a governor in FCC, I have a governor in Rivers State. That would be what would give me joy. I think that would be my conversation with him. If I were to sit with Governor Sim, I would say to him, please, whatever it will take for you to ask your people to put down their weapons, if there are any, to calm down, please do your best. But more importantly, focus on delivering Rivers people. Don't allow any distraction. Do your job for which you've been elected, and ensure that the smallest Rivers man feels the impact of government.
Former Rivers State Commissioner for Information and Communications and former acting MD of the NDDC and proud educationist, Madam Ibim Semenitari. We appreciate you for your time, your take, your submission, your thoughts you have shared with us, and of course, the advice you have given to the two leaders. Thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate you.
All right. Yeah.
And of course, we wish the people of Rivers State well in all of this, because, they are the biggest winner or the biggest loser as it is. And we hope that the tension can be doused and peace can return to Rivers State, and these people can have true governance and reap the dividend of democracy. That is where we draw the curtains this morning, Femi.
Exactly. Rivers is called a treasure base of the nation for a reason. And we hope it returns to that status quo, not the rivers of drama, rivers of arts, and rivers of violence that we are currently seeing just because of political tussle. Femi Ojo's man will make a return tomorrow for the midweek edition of Morning Spring. You could catch, recap of this program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring TV. Western Spring TV. You can like, share, and subscribe as well, and other exciting programs. And we also beam me live on channel 190 on Star Times DTT. Enjoy the rest of your day and please stay alive.
And my name is Evelyn Ohiolei. Thank you for always doing this with us. And of course, Spring Trends come right after this broadcast. You will be thrilled at what we have in stock for you today. Do not go anywhere. Stick with Western Spring Television.